Hello, welcome back. When you're ready, today we're actually going to start in sitting. So I don't have any extra supports or props with me right now, but most of you have heard me mention this before. If you come into cross-legged, it's kind of always nice and most ideal to have the hips a little bit higher than your knees, or at about the same level. So cross-legged doesn't necessarily have to be your option. It can be legs out to the side, which is a great, we do a lot of movement from here. I do suggest if you sit like this often throughout the day on the floor to switch to your other side. Also, option to come to sitting on the knees or shins if that sits you up a little bit higher. Basically, what we're looking for is just the ability to have some space in the low back and a little bit of movement there versus that sitting kind of slouching. So, little sitting spiel for you. When you're ready, just come into your most comfortable elevated seat. When you get there, just take a moment, maybe just kind of wiggle around through the belly, just kind of circling through low back and rocking from side to side on each sit bone, that you feel that connection there. Sort of this tilting forward of the pubic bone and a tucking of the tailbone, just to get a little bit of connection with the surface beneath you, just through movement for a moment. Just making sure that this is a place that you can stay for a few minutes. If you need to come to sitting on a chair, that's fine too. We're going to be working more with the head, so just want you to be comfortable. So take the opportunity to land a little heavier into your lower body, however you have found this place of sitting. Maybe just take a few deep breaths into the low body. Feeling the exhales land you a little heavier into the support beneath you. Notice where it is that you make contact with the floor, with your seat. Just become a little more aware of that support. Maybe closing the eyes if they're not already. And can you land your attention all the way down to your tailbone? The very lowest part of the spine, the lumbar spine. Can you intentionally take a moment just to breathe around the very tip of the spine? Maybe you even sense its connection, contact with the surface beneath you. So as humans have evolved to this more upright from quadruped to standing on our 2 feet, we have evolved in these miraculous ways that our spine allows us to be upright. So just take your attention now to your low back space. You may even actually bring a hand there, and sitting, depending again how elevated your hips are here, you may notice that curve kind of inward to the body here. There's quite a science to all the different kind of directional patterns that the spine curves into as it elongates upward. And then start to just bring your attention, you may even bring your hand there, to kind of the mid-back section where it starts to extend back out again into our thoracic spine area. And just get a sense. This is where we may notice like a rounding or a hunching forward. You may even just move a little bit forward and back, kind of a cat and cow type movement, just to get a sense of sort of that collapsing forward feeling, and maybe even overextending the chest forward, and just finding that really comfortable place somewhere in between where it feels very natural and relaxed through the spine as it elevates up through, maybe you even kind of touch into between the shoulder blades and up into the upper back, where then it starts to again create this opposite curve up into the neck. Just kind of witness from the inside out, just the curves of your spine. And then we'll take our hands, the two hands, on either side of your neck and just start to give the neck a little bit of a squeeze, maybe even on either side of the vertebrae, the back of your neck. Just giving that a squeeze, and then kind of lengthening, so brushing or rubbing that hands upward towards the back of your head, towards the skull, the back, the occipital ridge, where you can start to apply a little bit of pressure. You'll find a little divot, kind of feels like you're at the top of your spine almost, and there's a little divot inward. Just massaging that with your fingers, and then pulling across that ridge, just gently massaging there, can be really tender, out towards your ears here. Just tracing that ridge, that bony area. All right, and then just relax your hands down at your side. Can you imagine that you're lengthening up through the crown of your head and creating that space at the back of your neck, just to let the shoulders relax? And then start to turn your head from side to side, as if you were just looking to either side of the room. You can do this with your eyes closed. It's not that we're looking to see anything except for an inward gaze. So we can notice, how does the head feel as though it's moving on the very top? So the very top of our spine, we have a very large vertebrae, and it's called the atlas vertebrae. For that, the story of Atlas, of carrying the world on his shoulders, which can feel like sometimes, I'm sure. So let those shoulders relax, just still continuing to turn, and then just pause over to your left for a moment. And can you just visualize that? Lengthen the length of the spine, the head sitting on top of the spine and turning towards the left. How far does that feel like the head can comfortably turn? Take a breath here as you lengthen. Exhale, soften. And then turn all the way to your right. Is there a difference in how far the head can turn to the right? Do you have any sensation down your back or sides from that turn? And take a full breath here. And then exhale, release, soften. Come back through center with your head. Eyes open or closed. Imagine now that you have a pencil straight out at the very top of your head. And then I'm going to ask you to start to draw a circle on the ceiling or into the sky with that pencil. Pencil's pointing straight out the top of your head. Just start to draw your circle. You can notice, did you draw a small circle or did you start really large? Can you maybe just go a little bit smaller than what you were? And then start to gradually increase the size to that. And then just simply for noticing, do you go to a clockwise direction or were you going in an opposite direction? Counterclockwise. And can your attention be, yes, on this circle that you're drawing? Maybe you're really focused on this pencil poking at the top of your head, but can you drop inside for a moment and just notice how this feels of the whole skull just kind of rotating around. I like to think of it as like a bobblehead around the very top of the vertebrae. Change your direction. Just drawing that circle. Nice, and just let that relax for a moment. Just kind of feel how that feels. Okay, then now imagine straight down from the center of your head, down through almost like your chin or a little bit into your neck. You have a pencil now, and you're going to be drawing downward. So draw the same circle. The pencil is pointed downward through your head, down through the back of your throat or your chin. And again, just drawing that circle a little bit smaller to start. Gradually getting a little bit larger. Soften the movement just a little bit. And then change your direction. And then just allow that to relax. Just notice. And then now we're going to imagine that there's a pencil just poking out the back of your head, very kind of that point where we were touching in the occipital ridge, right at the very center of the back of your head. So starting to draw your circle on the wall behind you. There's no real kind of right way or wrong way, but can you just come back to just this kind of vision of the head just sitting on top of that the highest vertebrae. It's just sitting there and just rolling it around to create this circle in the back of the wall behind you. And then can you change your direction with that? And then release. Just take a full breath in. Breathing out. And now imagining that this pencil is coming out the right side of your head, maybe your right ear, your right temple. And you're going to start to draw your circle there. Again, just starting fairly small. And just, do you notice, did you happen to go counterclockwise or clockwise first? Just relaxing the jaw. And then change your direction. Drawing that circle on the right side wall beside you. And then just release that now. Notice. And then we'll do that on the left. Drawing that circle on the left wall. Starting fairly small, slowly, maybe making the circle a little larger. Change your direction. Nice, and just release that. Take a full breath in. And a full exhale. And now you have one pointed out your nose, or maybe even between your eyes, whatever makes most sense for you. And just again, starting to draw that circle, nice and small. Maybe imagining the spinal column and the head resting on the spine, and how this movement is happening. And then can you change your direction? And then take a pause. Notice. And now come back to that pencil at the very top of your head. And then the one that was coming down, sort of the bottom of your chin into your throat, pointed downward. Can you start to draw a circle on the top and the bottom? So as if you're drawing on the floor and you're drawing on the ceiling. Starting to make the circle a little larger. Change your direction. And then let that release. And now seeing one at the back of your head, starting to draw that circle. And can you simultaneously be drawing one at the front? Change your direction. Beautiful, just let that relax. And then can you draw one on the right and the left at the same time? As if a pencil were poking out of both your right and your left ear, and you're drawing circles on the wall beside you at the same time. Change your direction with that. Beautiful, just let that relax. Take a moment just to observe and notice. And then slowly blinking the windows to your eyes open. Reaching your arms out to the side. Let's have palms up. Drawing thumbs slightly back, shoulders drawing back, shoulder blades drawing back, but this length up through the center. So maybe a little bit of a lift for sure through the chest, maybe even the chin or the gaze, and rooting down here. Take a moment, take a full breath in, reach your arms up overhead, reach up tall as you reach down and anchor down through the low body. Turn to your right, we'll move into a twist. Just take a moment here, just kind of settle in, whether you're sitting, if you do happen to be sort of in that mermaid type of shape with your legs, that's fine. You'll just have to alternate from side to side, just gazing over your shoulder, breathing here down into the belly. And then inhale, let's reach the arms all the way back up to center as you unwind the spine. Reaching up here, exhale, press the palms down alongside you, fingertips and palms facing towards the floor. Reaching back behind you, tuck your chin. Breathing here. Inhale, palms rise to the sky, reaching up as you root and fall a little heavier into low body. Turn to your left, bringing hands down. Moving into your twist, soft breaths into the belly. And then we'll inhale, arms rise all the way up to the sky again, straight through center. Exhale, hands to heart. And then bring your hands to about your rib cage, your waist area, and start to just turn from side to side as if you were twisting. Let your hands move. So when you twist here, just like we were, you can bring your hand maybe even just to your opposite knee if you're moving. Can you feel how that's moving through your waist area? Through the belly, maybe you notice a little bit in the low back, hip area of rotation. But there's not so much happening in and around the upper back and thoracic area. It's kind of from like our diaphragm down, almost like we have two sections and we're ringing right through the center. Okay. Come back through center. You're going to bring hands to about your solar plexus area. Let's just bring the palms here. Close the eyes. And as you inhale, feel this space expand. As if it were reaching outward, shining like the rays of the sun in the full 360 3D of your body. And then exhale, just drawing that back in. Inhale, expanding. Exhale, drawing in. Okay, and then bringing one hand to your chest. Let's bring your right hand to your chest. You're going to turn and start to rotate from your chest as if you could shine your heart towards the right side. And keep your hand, your left hand, facing forward. Like you could kind of start to create a rotation or a twist in your upper back. Or a little bit higher above the the diaphragm area. Nice, and then come back through center. Switch the hands, and then turn just from your left hand towards the left. Keep the right facing forward. Come back to center. Right hand to heart. Left hand to belly, turning to the right. Rotating back through center. Switching your hands, rotating to the left. Keeping that bottom hand facing forward as much as possible. Might feel like you're not really moving a ton here. Nice, and then come back through center. Arms reach out to the side. Inhale, rise up. Exhale as your right hand comes down and left reaches up and over. Just find a nice side bend here. Can you increase the space from your pelvis to your rib cage, getting a little bit longer there. And then come up and over to your other side, all the way. Big breath into those side ribs. Inhale, reach up, and exhale, hands come down. Let's roll through the shoulders up to ears and back. Just continuing that a few times here. And release from that. Extend your legs out in front of you. So if you're sitting elevated, that's fine. You may even still want to have that elevation. If you're on a chair, you might want to come down to the floor. Just take a moment just to extend the legs out. Give them a little shake. And then bring your right knee to bend, planting through that foot. And can you give yourself a little bit of an anchor here through the foot and extend through the left heel and the left leg. And just giving yourself a moment to relax the shoulders, lengthen through the crown of the head. If it feels available, step that foot over. Then we'll hug that knee with our left arm and reach the right up towards the sky. Nice and long spine here. Start to turn towards that right thigh. Turn towards your right side. Bring your right hand down behind you. Give yourself a little anchor. Inhale tall and exhale into your twist. Maybe just noticing where you experience this twist. If it's more in your low back, your upper back, midsection. And just taking a few breaths softly. And then coming back through center. Just turn to rotate in your opposite direction a little, just a little counter twist, and then extend that leg. Just a little shake and wobble and wiggle, pat, and left foot comes to a bend. Let that be a little bit of an anchor to lift you up tall here as you extend the right leg. Soften the shoulders back and down. Take a breath here. And then we'll cross that foot over, hug that knee with your right, sit up nice and tall, left hand reaches to the sky, and then back and supports you behind you. Giving you a little bit of a kickstand, a little bit of length to the spine to create some rotation. Nice release from that. A little turn to the opposite direction. Nice. Bring the hands back behind you to support you. Knees to bend, feet to plant. We'll just start to move from side to side. So creating a little bit of a twist here through the spine. Lifting the hips perhaps as you turn and rotate. Just giving a little opening to the front of the hip flexors. Let's bring the arm in, so reaching around to the opposite direction, coming up with the knees and the hips, and turning around in the opposite direction. So just little rotations. You might find you start traveling across the floor. All right, then when you're ready, crawl your way into a tabletop. So maybe you have that cushion to support your hips. You can bring it underneath your knees, bringing fingers nice and wide, gripping into the tips of the fingers to press into the knuckles of the hands to create this lift out of the wrists. You can always tuck your toes under and lift your knees. Come to that neutral spine for a moment and just take a breath. And then start to move just through your tailbone. So tucking and tilting your tailbone. I have this visual here. I can look at myself in the screen. It's kind of a nice one to actually do sometimes in front of a mirror and just start to notice if the midsection of the belly is, because we do this on our back quite a lot. I say tuck and tilt your tailbone and just try to move your pelvis. So it's pretty subtle. So you may actually notice you have to minimize the movement a little bit. And then using your tailbone as sort of the leader here as it tucks, can you then start to bring that into your mid-back? And then start to lift the tailbone, and then that starts to undulate into mid-back again, and the belly button drops down. So cat-cow, but start to keep that mainly in your low body for now, just to explore. Allow your tailbone to be the beginning point and the end point. Start to bring your upper body into that. Maybe you push away and your chin tucks. And then as you're rounded here, the tailbone starts to lift, and then the rest of the spine starts to follow. So the tailbone, imagine that you were just moving the tailbone, and because of that, the rest of the body starts to move. The rest of the spine starts to round or extend back. Just breathing with this. Finish off where you are, come to a neutral place, and we'll start to rotate around. So people often say it's like, imagine you're cleaning out the inside of a jar, or you're trying to be like a cement truck. So just reaching as if you could imagine your diaphragm wrapped all the way around your body, or you were trying to touch your rib cage to all the places around you. Just kind of freeing up some space here of the diaphragm. Change your direction. Beautiful. Come to a neutral place. Tuck those toes under, lift your hips up, come into your downward facing dog. If this is your first one here today and you haven't done a lot with your legs other than just some of that sitting that we just did, take your time and really move around through this and just explore all the parts and all the places that I typically cue. You can come to a plank and push yourself back, or have a nice big bend in your knee. Just take a moment and really make this just like a little exploration. What's feeling strong today? What's feeling a little bit maybe soft and squishy? When you're ready, come to a plank position. So whether that's knees up or knees down, can you just take a moment and feel the sturdiness, the stability, and the strength that your body has in your bony structures to hold you here. When you're ready, press back to your downward facing dog, moving around. When you're ready, take your feet, start to walk towards your hands, coming into your forward fold. Play around with the feet, the toes, the weight distribution in your feet. Maybe shaking the head yes and no, and relaxing through the shoulders. Maybe grab for opposite elbows, whatever feels best for you here. When you're ready, if it's comfortable, to let your arms dangle in front of you. And we're going to start to push into the feet, bend your knees, and you're going to roll yourself up to standing. Of course, if there's anything going on in your low back, be really mindful with the knee bend. Take your time. Arms are hanging heavy. Really take your time to bring your chin up last into this upright position. Palms can open forward, embodying your mountain posture. Tadasana. Take a moment to get a little heavier into the feet. Exploring this week, this bridge between the physical. So if we imagine kind of the lower elements of our body, this kind of earthly connection, this pull of gravity. So feel down into your footprint, to the sturdiness of your legs, and even the support of the pelvis. Can you notice where your pelvis is in space here? Maybe you move around and wiggle or sway a little bit. Just feel all the weight of the body. The shoulders relaxed, and you imagine even this whole torso as if it were just sitting on the pelvis. All the internal organs. And we have the support in the length of our spine to keep us upright, broad across the shoulders. Lengthen the top of the head towards the sky. So we begin to rise and extend upward to our higher faculties. We're going to move through this quite slowly, maybe even slower than you have before. We're going to start to tuck your chin. And can you imagine each vertebrae from this point here down your spine? And you're going to just start to create space in between each one as you round forward. So starting to round through your upper back. Hands just hang heavy, let them relax in your wrists. Tucking the chin as if you could create the rounding in each vertebrae. Take a pause for a moment as your upper back hangs heavy here. It might feel like your solar plexus area is drawing inward and the belly is engaged, like you were puffing up into your upper back between your shoulder blades. And then as you come to the area behind your diaphragm, the solar plexus, can you create rounding there? Space to roll forward. Feel the low back. Creating space in your low back. At the point where you get to your low back, I would say start to bend your knees just slightly if you haven't already. Bringing yourself slowly into the full forward fold. Feel like a little bit of effort into the belly as you support naturally. It's just sort of instinctually going to happen from the weight of your head and your shoulders coming forward. Take a moment in your forward fold. Feel the backs of your legs, the weight in the heels. Head relaxed, and we're slowly again going to press up. So you may again bend into your knees slightly, this sense of tucking your tailbone, and then just start to witness the muscular activity. You don't even necessarily have to think about engaging it, maybe not squeezing it, to bring yourself back to standing, one vertebrae at a time. Really slowing it down through those sticky parts, midsection of the back, just to try and find the stacking. All the way as you root through the feet. And feel how the front side of the body begins to open as your head lifts up here. Up into vertical, length through the crown of your head. Palms facing slightly forward, shoulders relaxed. Inhale, rise your palms all the way to the sky. Extended mountain here. Maybe turning the palms of your hands up towards the sky, towards the light, to the sun, to the warmth. A little bit of the unknown. Feel how you can root down through your feet. Press a little more to the outer edges of your heels. Dig into that big toe mound. Soften your toes. Reach down, rise up. Draw belly in slightly as you send the hips slightly forward. And then start to lift through your chest. Maybe the chest lifts up towards the sky and your gaze between the hands. Breathing here. Exhale as you come tall. Press the palms down to your side, slightly back behind you as you hinge over your hips. Hinge at your hips, long spine, reach the arms back. Come to that place about halfway, 90-degree angle-ish, where you're long through your spine. So you're reaching back through the tailbone and the sit bones. They're a little broader and wider, and long through the crown of your head. Just taking a moment again here. Notice where the body engages along the core. Hold the weight of your head and your shoulders. Let your arms come down to your thighs. And then slide your hands down your back as you bend your knees and come into a forward fold. Bend your knees quite a lot as you start to lift your chest. Reach your arms out to the side with that long spine. Reach all the way up tall as you press down through your feet. Fingertips touch above you. Exhale, hands to heart. Relax your hands down at your side. Take a moment here. When you're ready, inhale, rise your palms out to the sides and up towards the sky. Can you rise up, rise with the gaze, root down through the feet. Find all of those elements of the back body supporting you to lift and lengthen the front side of your body. Feel the rootedness through the feet. Feel the spaciousness around your hands and your arms as you reach up towards the sky. Exhale, hands come down at your side. Come up nice and tall. Just take a moment, again landing into your mountain. Inhale, rising palms. Gaze up. Exhale, hands come straight down through your center towards your heart. Follow your fingers all the way down into your forward fold. Inhale, lift and lengthen your spine. Exhale, back down into your forward fold. Step your feet back as you land through your hands, come into a plank position. Let's step the hands a little wider. Drop the knees down. Send the hips forward as you roll the shoulders back, engaging through the tips of your fingers. Breathing here. And then exhale as you lift the hips up, knees maybe a little wider, moving towards either a child's pose or melting heart with hips a little bit higher. Arms either reaching or reaching back towards your feet and your heels. A few breaths here. When you're ready, coming up towards table, you're always welcome to stay there a little longer, or coming down onto your back, either into constructive resting, if you need to move at all before, or bring any extra support up to meet your body. You can extend your legs long into your Shavasana. Just take that moment to feel everything land here. Maybe closing your eyes. Find the space of your inhale as it rises up and out. And then feel the landing of your out breath, your exhale, into the body, into the support beneath you. Inhales, expand. Exhales, settling, landing. You may be bringing hands to your solar plexus, or maybe just your gaze inward, your attention. And with each in-breath, feeling that energy of lightness and brightness, expansion. As if with each in-breath that internal light and flame could extend down to the soles of your feet, out to the tips of your fingers, and even up to the crown of your head. Each out-breath draws all of that energy back, settling back into this home place, into your solar plexus, to refuel, to revive, to re-energize, to release. And each inhale, again, expands, enlivens, invigorates, and clears. Each out-breath, landing. Emptying. Notice if your attention is drifting. Finding the practice to bring it back. Body breathing. And then take a moment just to notice your pelvis. Notice the point where your tailbone and your sacrum meet the floor beneath you. And then feel the weightedness in your legs and your heels, where your heels meet the floor. And they fall heavy. Come back to tailbone, to sacrum. And then just slowly guide your attention up your spine, the waves of your spine, noticing where it rises up and away from the floor and where it moves down and lands into the floor. Just breathing along those articulations. And then begin to find a deeper in-breath. And a nice sigh or a longer out-breath. Blinking the windows to your eyes open, welcoming the light back in. Your eyes were closed. Finding a reach or a stretch or knees into chest. That will eventually bring you back to sitting. Find the rootedness to your seat. Find the length and the soft lift to your spine, out the crown of your head. When you're ready, take your arms out to the side. Take a full breath in, reach them up. And let's exhale, hands to heart center. Just take a moment here. Breathe fully into the body. Breathing out, releasing from the body. The light in me honors and recognizes the light within you. Thank you for sharing your practice. Have a beautiful day. Namaste.